Welcome to the Assassin's Den. My name's Charlotte. You know Kevin. Kevin, oftentimes you go to help people at their gardens. They ask you to kind of consult and help them make their garden better. As an assassin, what is your plan of attack there?
Good question. First off, assuming that they're doing the basics. They're choosing high quality soils, they're pH testing, and they're choosing high quality nutrients. What I try to do is I try to locate the growth limiting factor.
Oh, the growth limiting factor. What is that?
There was a biologist many years ago, Carl Sprengel, and Justus von Liebig actually really popularized this theory that he created in 1840, and that is that growth is not dictated. When I say growth, that can be the growth of a plant or the growth of a population of microbes, animals, anything like that. The growth is limited not by the totality of all the resources that are there, but rather by the resource that is the scarcest resource.
Okay. Like what, for example?
So let's try to think of everything as a chain. All your various micronutrients, macronutrients, but included in that are various aspects of your environment, meaning your CO2 levels, your relative humidity, your temperature, the amount of light, the amount of water, that all this is kind of one large chain. And obviously that chain is going to be limited in its strength as to what is the weakest link. So let's imagine you have that perfect nutrient profile. You have as much water as you need, your environment is dialed in, but you have just like a 40-watt light bulb on. So at that point, light is obviously what's limiting that garden. In the same way, it can be perfect with its light. It can have plenty of water. But if you're missing, let's say that nutrient profile is looking really, really good. The environment is dialed in, but you have one tiny micronutrient that is missing. That's going to limit the uptake of everything else. Okay. So what I'm kind of doing all the time is running around playing whack-a-mole, trying to figure out exactly what that growth limiting factor is, identify that growth limiting factor, give that garden more of it, and then it's going to start taking up more of everything else. So we're just continuously identifying that growth limiting factor.
So another good analogy might be like, say, a barrel full of water. Let's say this barrel is built with great, strong, sturdy planks, but you're missing one plank. It's not going to hold the water very well.
Absolutely. If you're missing that one plank, or that plank is halfway missing, something like that. Yes. So this is the famous graph that's all over the internet. So yes, where water is considered your yield, but you're limited in some other type of micronutrient, okay, it's going to hurt your entire yield. So yeah.
Well, can this also be extrapolated to include genetics?
Technically, genetics aren't considered a resource in the exact same way, but using this as an analogy, I would argue absolutely. The two factors building any new garden that I always look to make sure that you hit out of the park right away is your lighting and your genetics, okay? That's going to, those genetics, those seeds are going to set the genetic potential of that entire garden. And every single decision that you make after that is about trying to reach that genetic potential. And then I say lighting as well, because you make a mistake on your lighting, it's going to be very expensive to redo that, especially halfway through. Certainly aren't going to be able to redo your genetics halfway through, just, magically. Obviously that isn't going to work. But, so for any new garden right away, identify the best possible genetics. I'll recommend Musca Negra, and get your best possible lighting as well. And if you're looking at LEDs, I highly recommend Nextlight. Nothing else mimics sunlight nearly so well indoors. So identify those factors right away, and then we start looking at everything else. But like I said, we're just constantly looking to identify that growth limiting factor on any consult, improve upon that, and thereby improve both quality and quantity.
Well, now I see why they call you in to consult.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Kevin. If you would like some more great advice, information on growing, please check us out on Instagram at Botanic Assassin. Our website is also fantastic, botanicAssassin.com. And if you have any questions you want to send over, please send them to info@botanicAssassin.com. Keep on growing and stay frosty, friends.